Kate Daly Show.
I work all night, I work all day to pay the bills I have to pay. Ain't it sad?
All right, welcome back, Kate Daly Show, and of course, I have a great guest. I'm so glad he's on with me because I can't wait for this news day. We're going to be talking about the economy, and there's so much to talk about. And I feel like it's like a huge news blast. How are you? How are you, Philip? How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thanks, Kate. It has been quite the day. You are correct.
Yes, and happy birthday. On top of it all, happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh, eventful. Woo. All right. So election weeks away, and we're learning finally about she's just such a weirdo. Kamala's plans, I guess, that have been written out for her for the future. What are the plans so far?
Plans, I guess, was not a bad way to describe it, to be honest. There haven't been too much in terms of a detailed economic policy, and I think it's by design, right? We're getting, instead, she's talking in vague abstractions about making the economy fair while floating trial balloons, I think her focus groups have come up with. But if we were to summarize it, I think it comes down to a handful of things: more taxes and a lot more spending coming from a potential Kamala administration.
They don't know anything else, though. That's all they really do know. I mean, all of them have lived off of the government. They've never really held jobs in the private sector, truly, most of them. And so all they know is to just raise taxes and get us very busy for their gain. Yeah. So we can expect more taxes, right? So what's on the table?
We can definitely expect more taxes. I mean, that was central to their policy. So taxes and spending is key. When it comes to taxes, in terms of specifics, they're talking about quadrupling the stock buyback tax, increasing taxes on capital gains and dividends, a 25% minimum tax on high wealth households. And concerningly, they're saying it may apply to both realized and unrealized income, which would be a disaster, right? Theoretically, we could be taxed on the market price of our home, whether we sell it or not. But for me, the big issue is this, right? The hope would be that these tax proposals would generate huge amounts of revenue, and they generate revenue, right? Projections are over the next 10 years, $750 to $900 billion in tax revenue. For some context, that's less than we're paying on the debt service payments just to carry the debt this year alone, right? And by the way, these taxes are not free of consequences. The Tax Foundation estimated that it's going to reduce economic output by 2% and cost 1 million full-time jobs. So I think we're stepping over dollars to sort of pickpocket cents, if you will.
Okay. So, when you look at Trump and you look at Kamala for the economy, tell us what you perceive as the differences for their plans. What do you think?
Look, what we're getting from Trump and Vance, broadly speaking, they're talking about creating a more business-friendly environment. They want to cut corporate taxes to attract investment, and they don't want to raise income or capital gains. So essentially leave the middle class alone. The sort of central part of the policy is tariffs, right? So they're talking about a 20% tariff on all imported goods, 60% tariff specifically on goods imported from China. For me, this is long-term thinking. I think in the long term, it's a good idea. This is a strategy to revitalize our manufacturing base and incentivize the purchase of sort of high-quality American-made goods. But there's going to be a cost, right? And I think what it will mean is higher prices up front, right? We've got to remember every Walmart, every Target sells goods made in China, which would mean prices would have to go up significantly. But if you're asking me about the difference, Trump's economic policy for me is based on a principle of short-term pain in exchange for longer-term gain. And I don't think we've had a president willing to do that since Reagan. And quite frankly, it's what we need. Kamala's looking at the opposite, right? We're talking about massive spending. We're talking about taxing wealthy Americans. It's sort of the opposite, right? Short-term gain for longer-term pain. But Kamala is basically Bidenomics 2.0. For every dollar Biden wanted to spend, Kamala wants to spend too. And we know what that has done to us over the last 4 years. I don't think the economy can suffer another 4 years of this policy.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Don't you find it kind of interesting that she says she's going to solve all these problems day one, but what doesn't solve them now? Doesn't solve a
Exactly.
thing.
They've had 4 years to do it, right? She's sort of,
Yeah.
distancing herself from the Biden administration, and it's
Mhm.
nonsense. And her policies are the same thing,
Yeah.
just more spending. As if the problem with the Bidenomics was that they didn't spend enough. It's absurd.
It's so true. Different lipstick on a pig. That's really what it comes down to, what she's trying to do anyway. And so, is that why the global central banks have been buying record quantities of gold? Because this is the gold year. I mean, my gosh. Do you
It,
agree?
it, it's part of it. Listen, yes, is the short answer. We've been printing money, we've been spending money like drunken sailors, and what
Mhm.
that's been doing is devaluing the dollar and making it less attractive for other nations around the world. The dollar's lost 17% buying power in the last 4 years. We cannot forget, and we feel that domestically, but nations around the world feel it because they're holding dollars that they use for trade. So this is driving huge demand to gold, right? Because
Right.
gold and the US dollar have an inverse relationship. But if I'm a central banker around the world holding dollars and I'm watching this administration pushing forward huge spending packages, printing more dollars, it's going to be a problem. And like I said, that's why the last 2.5 years, central banks have set records for gold buying. Gold has now actually overtaken the euro as the number two reserve asset globally. And it's simply because nations have been selling so many dollars buying gold, gold has overtaken the euro. So, yes, is the short answer.
Wow. I love Birch Gold, by the way. It's the place I trust, and I really want people to go to Birch Gold and support the show and support yourself with gold and silver right now. This is the year. I mean, we've got to be buying this. And, looking at the financial stuff that's coming, that we know is coming with digital currency, anything new on that front too that you're watching?
Look, it seems to be gathering steam, and it's not just domestically in the United States, it's central banks around the world. The UK government have been sort of talking about, obviously, China a full steam ahead in terms of a form of digital, but it's the direction that
Right.
the government want to go in. They're trying
Mhm.
to seek more control. You can see that in their policies, and a digital
Yeah.
currency that they control, I think, is a good means to achieve it.
Right.
Um,
And the
are they going to
strike.
get?
The
Oh,
strike,
sorry.
the strike, the prices coming with the strike. That could, I
Yeah,
mean, you got to stop the inflation on your accounts.
the strikes are another disaster, and it's at a very inopportune time, which
Hmm.
strikes
Right.
often are. But
Jeez.
but yeah,
Thank you. I really appreciate you. Thank you. We've got the music playing, and I so appreciate you. Philip Patrick, thank you from Birch Gold. And text 989898. Text my name, Kate. Get some gold. Get your account. Get this free info kit. You need it. Be faithful. Be fearless. See you here tomorrow.